So HP, what did you think of Tales of the Borderlands? I'm the one who actually ended up reviewing the game, but you've also now completed the game. What are your overall impressions of the game?
To me, it's the pinnacle of Telltale games. Like, it's literally what a Telltale game should be. Like everything about it, like the dialogue, the story, it's just perfect for what it is.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game as well. And to be honest, I probably think it is Telltale's best game as well. Probably the other contender we probably had is Walking Dead Season 1, maybe The Wolf Among Us as well. But for me, I think probably Tales from the Borderlands is the best ever Telltale game.
Yeah, they've made probably two or three games that are good, very good. But to me, this is the best one. I mean, season one is up there, but I'm not sure whether that's
Season 1 of Walking Dead, you mean?
yeah, season one of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's up there, but I mean, maybe I just feel like it was a long time ago. It was the first one. Maybe that's what's sort
Yeah.
of make it better.
Yeah, at the time it was probably really fresh and new, so maybe that's influencing some people's opinions and judgments as well. But talking more specifically about Tales from the Borderlands, I think without a doubt my favorite part of the game is actually the characters themselves. What were your overall impressions of the characters?
Well, they're very believable. They're authentic. I mean, it's pretty clear that they're all selfish. They're all very much like real life.
Yeah.
There's no like good guy, bad guy. It's all in the
Yeah,
gray area.
it's not very black and white. That's what I really enjoyed about the game. Like you said, it is a bit of a grey area because this is set in the Borderlands universe, which is full of corporations who are out for themselves, full of bandits and people who've grown up on Pandora, which is very much like a almost a Western type wasteland, basically. I think one of the cool things Tales from the Borderlands did is the fact that you have two main characters to play with. You're first introduced to Reese, who's essentially a corporate man and someone who's basically spent his entire career at Hyperion Corporation. And then you're introduced to Fiona, who's someone who's a con artist, grew up in Pandora, surrounded by bandits and in a wasteland. I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah, they're very different but similar, as you touched on, like the background.
Yeah,
But they're looking out for themselves. You know,
yeah.
they all have their own interests at heart.
Yeah, I think like with Reese, he's basically just trying to promote himself and get further up in Hyperion Corporation. Eventually turns into a bit of revenge where he wants to screw over his main enemy, Vasquez, the main rival. Whereas with Fiona, she's obviously being a con artist and basically a thief, is someone who's always looking for her next big score. So they are very similar in that sort of manner. But as you said, they're quite authentic and also likable as well, I thought.
Yeah, they're definitely likable. I mean, to me, the comedy of the game is what makes it what it is. I mean, I've never seen a game that was this funny, really.
Yeah, I think it really is a gold standard, not just for Telltale games, but for comedy genre as well. Like you mentioned with these characters, it's not just the main characters who are like amusing in Fiona and Reese, but their friends as well. Vaughn, who's Reese's best friend, is very amusing. I thought Sasha, Fiona's friend, is also very good as well. But even some of the really small bit part characters, the enemies of the game, Vasquez is arguably the most funny character, brilliantly voiced as well. There's so many characters that are just memorable and really enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the gold standard of voice acting. It really is. I mean, you pretty much got Patrick Warburton as Vasquez. I mean, that's just perfect. That's perfect casting.
Yeah, he really is fit for the role. He's got such a distinctive voice. Like he can brilliantly portray so like over the top characters, and that's exactly what Vasquez is here. And he did a really good job, Patrick.
The game also has the greatest shooting scene, fight scene of all time.
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about the finger gun scene, and it is brilliant. It really is, and I just love the way how. Even though it's completely almost silly, how brilliant it is and how believable it is. It's just a really good scene, and it's just one of the many examples of the game and how well it was constructed, how funny it is. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it breaks the fourth wall quite a lot, and you can just tell it doesn't take itself seriously,
Yeah,
and that just adds to its charm.
yeah, exactly. I mean, they really do make jokes at the expense of the genre, gaming in general as well, which again gives it sort of really lets us know that they're not taking this too seriously. It is a game that's there to be amusing, is there to have fun.
Some of the music in the game as well. It's some of the best music in video gaming. I feel. I mean, the intros.
Yeah, I mean, there's five obviously episodes, and pretty much every episode has a really cool soundtrack scene for the basic introduction for each of the episodes, and it's brilliantly done. Like some of them are, they just suit the episodes as well in terms of what's going on. Some of the music is a bit more sort of somber, whereas some of the other ones really high upbeat energy depending on what's going on. It really suited the game.
You know, there's probably what, 4 characters that you see quite a lot in the game. Actually, maybe 5 with Loaderbot.
Yeah, Loaderbot as well. But yeah, it's basically what Reese, Fiona, the two main playable characters, their best friends, Sasha and Vaughn. There's Loaderbot, as you said. They're probably the 4 or 5 main characters of the game. But as we mentioned, like some of the side characters are so good as well. Gortys, Valerie, August, Felix.
What's the engineer's name? You know, the engineer.
Which engineer?
The take catch a ride guy.
Oh yeah.
That guy is the best.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. He was brilliant as well. There's just so many of the guys who are just very memorable. Even if they've only been in the game briefly, they're just very funny. But the thing is, as well as just being funny, there's actually a lot of character development in the game as well.
It's, yeah, you could just see like Reese by the end. He's more tough. Also, he kind of cares, and that's a change. That's a welcome change for him.
Yeah, he's not just someone who's in it for himself by the end of the game. He's someone who's actually motivated by almost like the well-being of his comrades as well, which is obviously a big change for him. And the thing is, a lot of the characters go through a big change. For example, Reese and Sasha start off as genuine enemies, and Sasha's someone who hates Hyperion and hates corporation, and it's just someone who wants to get away from Pandora. Yet Reese and Sasha, depending on how you play the game, can actually grow to have a romance together, and it's something that feels believable and genuine as well, not something that's forced.
Yeah, they also learn to trust more, Sasha and Fiona.
Yeah,
and you know, I think all the characters, as you mentioned, they all have changes, all open their mind a little bit more.
Yeah,
during the game.
Yeah, and I think what actually makes it good as well is the fact that the side characters and bit part characters, because they sort of have their own motives, have their own agenda, they feel very genuine and real. They're not just there as props to sort of move the story along for the main characters, which is something I think a lot of Telltale games are guilty of, especially Walking Dead. Like some of the characters in the Walking Dead series feel like they are there simply to die at some point, simply to force you into some sort of moral dilemma where, oh, who are you going to choose? Who's going to die? Who's going to survive here? And I think that's something that was really improved with this game. The fact that it wasn't really that sort of game. It wasn't a game where it felt artificial, where they were going to force you into these sort of situations.
Yeah, the story of the game is different. Like, there were no really pointless deaths.
Yeah,
I can't really think of, like, one death where it was emotional as well. Like,
yeah. I mean, obviously, let's not try and talk major spoilers, but I definitely think this game was a much improved Telltale game over some of the previous ones in terms of being more genuine and real, not forcing these artificial choices on us. I think it was much better.
Yeah, and there was no, like, as you mentioned, irrelevant choices. Like, oh, this character, I have to choose whether this character's going to die or survive, and that character's going to die like 2 episodes later.
Yeah. That's almost like something that's become synonymous with Telltale games, especially the Walking Dead series, where they'll give you a choice of 2 characters. You got to choose which one's going to survive. But pretty much anyone who's played more than one Telltale game knows it basically means that whoever you choose is just going to die later on. They're both going to die, and it just becomes a relevant choice. And the fact that Tales from the Borderlands doesn't have this is a welcome improvement.
Also, I gotta say the length of the game is actually perfect. Like, it's a lot longer than some of the recent Telltale games, and it's probably about the length of Season 1 Walking Dead.
Yeah, it took me about 10-11 hours to complete the game. Was it very similar for you?
Yeah, it was about the same. And, you know, just that's how these Telltale games should be. Like, some of these Telltale games that just end after 7 or 8 hours. It's like, well, what's the point of playing this?
Yeah, agreed. I think 10 hours is probably the optimum length for these sort of games. Anything less than that, I think some of the other games are 6-7 hours, is a bit too short, and you feel so short-handed, and it doesn't quite sit right. But, I mean, going back to the storyline, like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. The fact that the journey the characters go on, it feels like there's a lot of growth, and the way they come together. They both start off trying to go for this initial score, trying to for their own selfish gains, as you mentioned. but the sort of twists and turns during the game are really good and really believable as well, and it sort of changes their motives from being less about, oh, let's just try and make a quick buck here, and actually, oh, let's try and help out our comrades.
The game also has these. There are some bugs in the game.
Yeah, I encountered some as well. Did you?
Yeah, I mean, there was one bug in particular that I think you touched on during your review.
Yeah, we both encountered the same bug where there's a scene between Reese and Fiona where they're trying to navigate their way through this machine gun that's trying to basically kill them both. And we both encountered it, which is amazing. And essentially, Fiona gets sent back into this whole loop, right back to the beginning of the sequence. And she still thinks Reese is there, but Reese is battling an opponent right down the corridor. And it basically, you get stuck in a loop almost. It's unfortunate and something that sort of becoming a problem with Telltale games, these sort of bugs and issues they encounter and performance issues.
Yeah, luckily it's not like, it wasn't that awful. It really wasn't. It was like maybe a minute thing. You just have to go for that scene again.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I don't think it's completely spoiled the game, but it is unfortunately negative, and why I sort of brought down some of the score as well. I ended up giving it a 8 out of 10, which is a shame, but unfortunate really.
with Telltale, you know there are going to be some choices that kind of don't matter, and there's one choice where you save a bullet, and
Yes.
really, it doesn't mean anything at all. Like you're gonna end up getting a lot of ammunition later on.
Yeah, that was disappointing. At the beginning of the game, you essentially get a bullet for your gun, and you're basically told to, essentially, it's up to you when you use it, but it's probably worth saving it. And I remember myself, especially, I made sure to save that throughout the first episode or so. Make sure not to use it, even though they gave you 2 or 3 opportunities to take someone out or defend someone. And yet it became irrelevant because you get ammunition later on anyway. And I was quite disappointed with that because I thought it was going to be one of those things where, depending on where you use that bullet, it could create a profound difference in the storyline.
Yeah, really, the choices in this game aren't really. It's not really powerful. It's not really the actual top. Not actually the real thing about the game.
Yeah.
The thing about the game is just how well written it is, how good the story is, how great the voice acting is, how great the comedy is. The choices itself, honestly, it didn't really need choices if we were being honest.
Yeah, it is more of a conventional sort of textbook game compared to the other Telltale games, but I think it was actually better as a result because, like we mentioned, there wasn't any sort of decisions that made you feel like, oh, this is going to be really major, really pivotal, and then you weren't really left disappointed because a lot of Telltale games does leave you with that when it comes to decisions.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like Telltale, they kind of handicap themselves by by following through with these choices almost.
Yeah.
Whereas in this game, like it's just written really well. Like they don't. So it's as if like they just thought we have a script. This is how we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna write it perfectly. We're not gonna undermine what we did by following through with some choice.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it was definitely an improvement as a result. What did you actually think of the ending of the game, which has been, I think, fairly controversial? It's split amongst the fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly setting up a season 2, which we're not sure is going to ever happen.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I think the ending, which is a bit of a cliffhanger ending, definitely is trying to set up a season 2. But actually, as recent reports have suggested, unfortunately, the game wasn't as successful as it probably deserves. It has essentially broken even and maybe made a bit of money. It wasn't like a complete disaster, but unfortunately, it might not necessarily get a season 2 because it wasn't a big money maker, which is actually, from what the reports say, a reason why the game took a bit longer to develop, because towards the end it was actually not a big massive crew working on the game, a big development team. It was actually a bit of a skeleton team, so only people who had a genuine passion and enthusiasm for the project were working on it. And I wonder if that's what made the game so good, the fact that it was a smaller team and guys who were developing on the team because they wanted to.
Yeah, you could tell there was some passion to this game. There was, like, some of these other Telltale games, like, they just feel like they've just been done quickly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got a deadline, we got to finish this game.
Yeah.
Whereas this game, you can just feel the passion, just how brilliant the writing is. Like, you just see it, the intricate details of the game.
Yeah, I feel like this game was definitely made by people who must have been fans of the Borderlands universe, because it's really paid homage well to the actual source material.
Yeah, and there are some characters from the Borderlands series in the game.
Yeah, Handsome Jack, Athena, there's definitely some pivotal characters, and I think it's done quite well. they're introduced pretty well. They pay homage to their original sort of features in the game, because this is essentially set as a sequel to after Borderlands 2, but with their own sort of set of characters, with just a few cameos from the established series.
Yeah, and honestly, you gave the game an 8 out of 10. I mean, I think you were a little low on the game. I know there's some flaws to it, I know.
Oh, you would have given it a bit more than 8 out of 10?
I think it was a 9. I'll be honest. I mean, it's the best Telltale game to me.
Yeah.
So I feel like there are some flaws, and all Telltale games have flaws. So I mean, I can understand why you gave it an 8. I can, but to me, despite the flaws, it should have been a 9. I mean, it's the best Telltale game ever. It really is.
Yeah, I think so as well, and I think we could both agree on that. Maybe not quite the score. I'm an 8 out of 10, you're a 9 out of 10, but still, we both agreed this is probably the best Telltale game ever. Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.